Hi, this is Michael Rony Mullick, and you're watching the post-market show. And today the markets opened with a gap up as expected. US markets ended in the green on Friday session, and we saw the Asian markets also opening with a strong bullish momentum, and that momentum was carried out in the Indian markets today. And markets opened with a huge gap up of almost 200 points. People could not believe we were expecting a gap up of around 150 points, but markets surprised everyone, and it opened at around close to 15,930, I think. Yeah, 913. So that is where the markets have opened. So after closing at 15,699 on Friday, the markets opened with a huge gap up, and over the day it was sustained, but towards the end we saw a slight sell-off in the markets. The markets ended, the Nifty ended at 15,836, which is obviously a good territory. It is above 15,800, which is good to see. Markets did not break 15,800 when it fell. So Nifty on a close-to-close basis is up 132 points or 0.85%. Coming to Bank Nifty looks more bearish than Nifty. So Bank Nifty also opened with a huge gap up, and it crossed 34,000, and it was trading over there. But again, within half an hour, we saw that the Bank Nifty could not sustain that levels, and it fell below 33,900, and finally it took support near 33,800, and that is exactly where the Bank Nifty ended. So Bank Nifty, you can see that the gap up which was created, Bank Nifty came down and almost filled the gap. So if I show you the daily charts, it will be clear in case of Bank Nifty that Bank Nifty opened with a gap up, and it managed to almost fill this gap over here. But still a gap remains on the upside for Bank Nifty. And it's the same thing if I move to the daily charts in Nifty. You can see the Nifty also opened with a gap up, but it did not come close to yesterday's high. So still a gap remains in Nifty to be filled on the downside, and on the upside also we are seeing a gap in Nifty as well. So Nifty on the upside, there is a gap to be filled, and also on the downside there is a gap to be filled. So it is going to be interesting to see which side the gap gets filled at first, and obviously the time will tell which side the markets will take a trend. Other than that, the Nifty mid cap index ended 1% in the green. Nifty small caps also ended 1.6% in the green. So good to see all the sectors contributing. Even the sectoral indices, all of them have ended well in the green. Nifty IT up by 2% today, and that is the top gaining sector today. Nifty IT, it is up 2%, and Nifty metals is up 1.5%. so rest of the sectors have all ended in the green, slightly in the green, all below 1%, so nothing major to discuss there. So IT and metals have done well today, and we have discussed that. Talking to index movers, we have Infosys, L&T, ITC, Bharti Airtel, HCL Tech, Asian Paints. These have been the top contributors to Nifty for today, and the top draggers are Kotak Bank and Reliance, so which has actually dragged the Nifty slightly today. Reliance down by 0.3%, and Kotak Bank down by 0.4%. So this is the Nifty 50 performance, and we see that most of them are on the greener side. Coming to FII DII buying and selling activities, the FIIs have sold for 1,278 crores, which is significantly lower than what they were selling for the last few days, and so that is something positive. And DIIs have bought for 1,184 crore. So institutional wise, we don't see there is much of a huge sell-off or buying from either of them, so things look fine over there as well. Now coming to the markets of let's look at the European markets, and then we will come to the US markets and other things. Coming to the European markets, let's look at the German index today, and let me open up the 5-minute chart. So the German index, you can see it opened with a huge gap up, and it continued its up move. So to put it into perspective, the German index was up almost 2% in the first half, and then came the huge sell-off, and the market broke the day's opening, and it actually touched yesterday's high, and it was a huge sell-off in the German index, but it still managed to close at 0.52% in the green. Same thing happened in the French index, but the French index ended in the red, And UK markets, these are the UK futures. It is right now it is trading at 0.25% in the green. So overall, the European markets, we see it's a mixed reaction. Some markets are positive, some markets are negative. So nothing major happening from there. And obviously the US markets are in focus right now, because now the US markets are opened after weekend. So US market, we see it opened with a gap up, but then it was immediately sold into, and right now it is sustaining at the lower levels. So let's see where the markets end in the US today. S&P 500 right now is at 3900, down by 0.3%. Nasdaq showing the most weakness, it is down 0.75%. And Dow Jones also down, it is down by 0.2%. So overall the US markets look kind of bearish, not that much, but let's see where the markets end. That is more important than where it is trading currently. So all of them are near the day's low. So let's see if the day's low hold as a support or if it breaks down further. Now, since the US markets are down, we see SGX Nifty slightly down. It is trading at 15,788. We see continuous red candles happening in SGX Nifty, and so let us see where the US markets end, and we will get a clear picture by tomorrow morning, obviously. So right now things are looking slightly down. SGX Nifty is down by almost 50 points today. Coming to some of the currency and commodities, dollar index is at 103.88. So dollar index cooling off it is a good sign, definitely. USD INR is this is scary. USD INR is at 78.49. It is very, very close to 78.5. In fact, it made a high of 78.5 today, which is again the weakest in the history of Indian rupee. So today it is trading at that levels. So talking about Indian rupee and its being the weakest in its history, we have to talk about USD JPY, that is the Japanese currency, and you can see it is at a 24-year high. Japanese currency is at a 24-year high. It's at a 24-year low when compared to USD. So now the Bank of Japan had a discussion regarding this, why it is down. So they have given two reasons for it. The reason number one is reducing exports because of the problems in China. So that was one reason given by Bank of Japan, and the second was rising bond yields in the US. So these are the two factors the Bank of Japan believes is the reason for Japanese yen being the weakest in a last 24 years. So that was regarding the USD JPY and USD INR. So both are looking very, very weak right now, and hopefully things continue let's not hope that things continue to be weak. Let's hope the USD INR gains some points in the coming days. Now the rising of USD can be attributed to the rising of crude oil prices, because we see the crude oil prices is again heading up. It is at $110 per barrel. So that is again not a good sign. We were seeing that the crude oil prices were cooling off significantly in the global markets. It made a low of $101, but now it is again back. It is going back up. So $110 per barrel is currently for the US oil. So possibly that is the reason why the Indian rupee is depreciating so much, because of the fear of crude oil prices rising. So that is regarding the crude oil, and why the US market, why the Indian currencies is depreciating again. Coming to VIX, India VIX has 2.2% up. It is at 21 levels, and US VIX is after we saw US VIX cooling off significantly in the last day, we are seeing US VIX slightly up today. It is up by 0.8%. Right now it is at 27.49. Coming to OI activities, Nifty OI for this expiry, that is the 30th of June, this Thursday, we see the put call ratio is at 1, which means equal amount of puts and calls have been written. So we see the Nifty is somewhat balanced, and today on an intraday basis we see huge amounts of call unwinding at 15,700. So people who had expected 15,700 will be acting as a support, as a resistant. That did not happen today, and markets opened way above that level, and so these people had to run for cover, and possibly their short covering led to the markets rising even more. So on a overall basis, we see 16,000 having the highest amount of call OI. So 16,000 still remains as a very, very strong resistance level for Nifty, and on the downside we see 15,500 and 15,000 to be the important level of resistance, important level of support for Nifty. So Nifty looks slightly bullish, but coming to back Nifty, it looks bearish. If you look at the put call ratio, it is at 0.88, which means more amount of calls have been written than puts. And also the markets have ended near 33,800, and 34,000 has the highest amount of call buildup. So people are not expecting much of an up move in Bank Nifty, and you see huge amounts of call have been written intraday basis right from 34,000 and above. And so people are not expecting a further up move in Bank Nifty at least till this Thursday. So let us see where the markets are headed this week. And right now, I told you, if you have followed the week ahead program of yesterday, you will know that there are major events being there. So from Thursday onwards, we have major events which will be impacting the markets. So right now, till Wednesday in the Indian markets, we expect a slight consolidation in the market. 15,832 is where the markets ended, and I told you there's a gap up, and there's a gap to be filled on the upside and the gap to be filled on the downside as well. Let's see what happens first. Looking at the US markets, if it ends in the red, we can expect the markets to slightly fall and touch the day before yesterday's high. That is on 24th June's high, that is around 15,743. So markets can come and touch that level if the bearishness continues. And so obviously Wednesday's data, if you remember, we have the US GDP data to be announced on Wednesday 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and the expectation is negative. And last quarter the GDP growth was negative, this quarter also negative. So if it comes negative this time as expected, we will say that the US markets have ended officially into the recession zone. So that is what the markets are fearing, and based on that, there could be a huge movement on the markets in the US on Wednesday, and obviously the same thing will be carried forward in the Indian markets on Thursday. And add to that, we have the expiry as well on Thursday, so things look really volatile on Thursday. So right now the markets can be consolidating, and I don't expect huge moves in the market at least till Wednesday, but Thursday definitely brace yourselves for a roller coaster ride. So with that, I will be ending my post-market show, and we will again meet for the pre-market show tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. to see where the US markets have ended and also how the Asian markets have opened. So with that, I will end the post-market show here. Hope you enjoyed it and have a very good night. Thank you for watching.